Hi, thanks so much for joining me. My name is Stephanie Webb. There's an airplane going by. I am the founder of Eat Happy Nutrition. I'm a holistic nutritionist, an eating psychology coach, and a mom of 3. And my mission in life is to help women take the guilt and stress out of nutrition and health. So right now you are tuned in to part 4 of my 5-part video series on why you are not losing weight. So just to recap, if you haven't watched the other 3 videos, I talked about being sedentary, I talked about stress, and yesterday I talked about sleep. So coincidentally, these are all starting with the letter S. So I'm going to continue with that theme today. And today I'm going to talk about another thing that might be preventing you from losing weight, and that is synthetic foods. More accurately, synthetic food-like substances. So I use the word synthetic because it starts with an S instead of artificial, but same thing. So a lot of people now use artificial sweeteners to try to lose weight. And logically, they think, okay, well, artificial sweetened foods like Diet Coke, for instance, have no calories in them. And everyone knows that if you eat too many calories, you'll gain weight. So intuitively, they think less calories from these diet products will help me to lose weight. Because sugar, it's a high calorie food, it's a high energy food, it spikes your blood sugar, it can lead to weight gain. So due to a very successful marketing campaign from these diet food companies, including diet sodas, we have been led to kind of believe that artificial sweeteners are a health food because they are calorie free. This is an absolute lie. And I'm here to take the wool off of your eyes and let you know that. So research actually has been showing, more and more studies are showing up, proving or showing a correlation between the use of artificial sweeteners and weight gain. Like, boop, pop the bubble. It's not true. Still, if you drink Diet Coke, you can still get fat. Artificial sweeteners are so incredibly sweet, up to 600 times sweeter than actual sugar, that they can actually deregulate our appetite. So they actually lead us to eat more. Several studies have shown that consuming artificial sweeteners, like in Diet Coke, lead to an increase in appetite and an increase in the perception of hunger. Even if you're not actually hungry, your brain will tell you that you are hungry. And it also has been shown to lead that people will eat bigger portion sizes. Artificial sweeteners are essentially foreign compounds in your body. These are relatively new genetically, historically. We didn't have these 100 years ago. They're pretty new as far as the human body goes. And our bodies don't know what to do with these. They're essentially a drug, not a food. And just like a drug, they have side effects. And because they're not food, your body gets confused by them. So when you eat sugar, like say you eat a piece of homemade cake made with real sugar, that in your brain, there is a food reward pathway that is this amazingly complex scientific chemical process where your brain rewards you with a good feeling for eating that food. When you eat sugar, your brain's like, yes, that feels so good. And you get that satisfaction from eating that piece of cake. When you eat artificial sugar, drink a Diet Coke, a sugar-free piece of candy, say, that food reward pathway in your brain is not activated because it is not sugar. Your taste buds actually process those chemicals differently than they process actual sugar. And it tastes fine. It tastes fine to you. It tastes the same as sugar to you, but to your brain, it acts and treats it very differently from actual sugar. And this can lead to an increase in appetite. Because you're getting the sweetness without the energy from the calories, your brain prompts you to continue that food-seeking behavior, tricks you into thinking that you're still hungry, which leads you to eating too much food, which after all does lead to weight gain. And because those artificial sweeteners are so intensely sweet, they encourage sugar cravings and sugar dependence. So that repeated exposure that we have, it's like this vicious cycle. We crave sugar, so we eat the artificial sugar to get that kick in our taste buds, which makes us crave more sugar, so we eat more artificial sweetener, and it just goes around and around because our brain is not getting that reward that it is seeking. If I could take out one substance from every person's diet across the board around the world, it would be artificial sweeteners. Because we have gotten so habituated to these intensely sweet flavors, now for a lot of people, when they eat something that is actually sweet, like an apple, they don't recognize it as sweet because their taste buds are so habituated to that hit of intense sweetness. So food, when you see a food that has no sugar, that should have sugar, like cookies or soda, when you see that food with 0 calories, 0 sugar, that should, instead of leading you to reach for that food, it should set off an alarm bell ringing in your head. Food has calories. Food has energy. If you see a food that does not have calories, does not have energy, it is not a food, and you probably should not put it in your mouth. This includes gum. You guys, sugar-free gum has all these same things in them because they lead to this inability to lose weight or even weight gain. It's not just sweeteners either. Those are everywhere. But I put together 10 foods that are also super problematic. So cheese, you've seen fake cheese, synthetic cheese, those like Kraft single square, who knows what they're made of, like plastic or something probably. Chocolate, in a lot of chocolate chip cookies, there's not actually any chocolate. There's not any cocoa. It's on the label, it will say chocolate flavored cookies. Like what? Cream, the filling in Oreos. When we were eating a vegan diet, people were like, oh, Oreos are vegan. Well, yeah, no animals were involved in the making of this cookie because it's not food. That cream filling, there's no cream in there. Whipped cream, same thing. Cool Whip, like what is Cool Whip? If you look at the ingredients, it's a non-dairy whipped treat, or I don't know the word they use, non-dairy whipped something, like whipped chemicals is basically what it is. A lot of peanut butters should more accurately be called peanut flavored sugar oil. They're not actually peanut butter. Ice cream. I love ice cream, you guys. I am a huge ice cream fan. So I'm like super offended by all those low fat dairy desserts that are posing as ice cream. Like, talk about a wolf in sheep's clothing. Like, if you're gonna eat ice cream. Don't be fooled by that fake stuff. It's not even good. Butter spray. You've probably seen this. I've seen people use it. This is like as fake as it gets. Like, butter does not spray. Butter is solid unless you melt it, but it should not be sprayed. That's just nasty. Potatoes. You know, those boxed mixed mashed potatoes. I grew up eating those, and I have to admit that I secretly love the taste of those. And there are a little bit of actual potatoes in there, but it's mostly just preservatives and emulsifiers and trans fat, which is the super worst food ever invented. Maple syrup. That's actually just corn syrup with artificial flavoring and lots of other weird stuff. But you don't want to be like, here kids, would you like some sodium hexametaphosphate on your pancakes? Like, that doesn't sound very appetizing. So So we call it maple syrup, but it's not actually maple syrup. The only ingredient in maple syrup should be maple syrup. It comes from a tree. Blueberries, those little imitation blueberries, like in the Jiffy cornbread mix and in those little mini muffin things, they have these blueberries. I can't even call them blueberries because they call them imitation blueberries. It's not anything you could pick or even make in your kitchen unless you're stocking a lot of like dextrose and cellulose gum and stuff. And the last on my list is bacon bits. Like, there's no bacon in there, guys. It's just like soy flour. Like, it's textured soy flour and a whole lot of preservatives and junk. So I'm going to leave it at that list because it gets depressing and it makes me kind of like want to cry thinking about people grocery shopping and being fooled by all these foods. Those foods are just by and large made up of hydrogenated soybean oil and lots of unpronounceable chemicals. The bottom line is that I want you to realize what percentage of your diet is made up of real food and what is actually not real food. What is not even food at all. And I know that this is not an easy battle to fight. I have 3 kids. If you have kids, I get it. It's hard to get kids to eat real food. I know. The struggle is real. And especially because those marketers know what they're doing. So if you're going to eat food that is bad for you, like sugar, cake, cookies, all those things, please, please, for the love of all that is good, make it yourself. I know it's much easier to buy a frozen apple pie than to make one from scratch, or I know it's a lot harder to like mix up actual brownies than to just dump in that packet. But, well, and the problem is that those things are so inviting because we are so busy and they're so easy and some of them taste kind of good. Like those stupid mashed potatoes. Potatoes. I know that they're easy and they're kind of good, some of them. But I promise you that those scientists who made those foods in their laboratory and those food companies, those marketers, they do not have your best interest at heart. They do not actually care if you lose weight. All they care about is that you continue buying their product. That low-fat or sugar-free food is not going to make you skinny, and it won't make you happy or feel good either, but it will probably keep you buying that product and thinking, what the heck is wrong with me? I'm eating all these low-calorie foods and I'm not losing a pound. So what I want to say to you is that it's not you. It's not your fault. But here's a little bit of tough love. It is your responsibility. It's not your fault, but it is your responsibility. When you are grocery shopping for your family, please, please read the labels. Do not remain ignorant about what you are putting in your body. I would even rather that you read the label and you know that this has hydrogenated soybean oil and sodium hexametaphosphate in it than to like blindly put it into your body. If you are going to eat it, please know and be aware of what it is. Don't be tricked by these fancy labels on the front of the box and these marketing campaigns that have you thinking that these foods are healthy for you. Health foods, by and large, do not come in packages. You can get like a package of lettuce, so I know there's exceptions. And yes, real foods take more effort. You might have to cut and chop and cook. But I love you, but cooking and preparing your own food is part of being an adult. And I am speaking to myself as much as any of you. I promise you I have fallen into this trap because life is hard. We are busy. We want the easy way out. And oftentimes we shortcut with food. That is not doing us any favors at all for our body, for our health, for our mood, for our happiness, for our children. It is doing nothing but harm. It is saving you time, but that is it. I really firmly believe that eating and feeding yourself well is a spiritual practice. I believe that our bodies are a gift from God and that we have a sacred responsibility to care for them as best we can. That takes some work. It takes a little bit of maturity and stepping up to the plate and recognizing, taking a hard look at yourself and seeing how well are you showing up for yourself? How well are you treating yourself? If you are being a little bit lazy about your food, maybe you need to step it up a little bit. And I am all about, I'm all about no stress, no guilt, nutrition, and health. The flip side of that is that you have to take responsibility. I do not believe that you should expect perfection from yourself. I don't expect it from myself, and I don't expect it from you. However, I do expect us all to try a little bit harder, to put in the effort, because it is worth it. If you take the time to nourish yourself and your family with real, actual food, it is worth every minute spent in the kitchen and at the sink. I know it takes time, but you can't complain that you're not losing weight if you are not doing what needs to be done to get there. So I'm going to step off my soapbox there, and I love you guys. I would love to help you more with this. I'm all about let's make this simple and let's not make eating healthy complicated, but we do have to try and we do have to take responsibility for our health and for our bodies. So that's part 4. I'll be back tomorrow with part 5. I would love to hear your comments in the comment section, and thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys tomorrow.